Okay, here we go. This beautiful morning, we are going to do completing the square when b is an odd number. Okay, so another thing, I'm using a fancy red pen. Make this interesting. So the steps are the same. We're going to subtract 28 from both sides to try to get n squared and the n by itself. So I have n squared plus 11n equals negative 28. Next thing is to make the left side a perfect square. And I do that by taking half of b and squaring it. Now, 11 halves is 5.5, and I could square it and I could get a decimal. But we don't want to work with decimals here because we don't want a decimal underneath the square root when we go to solve this thing. So, when I think about 11 halves squared, 11 halves times 11 halves is 121 fourths. So that's what I'm going to add to both sides. And I know that looks like a weird number, but we're going to get rid of it here. So, to get rid of a fourth, all we have to do is multiply by 4. Okay, so if I can't just multiply this one little part, these two little parts by 4, I have to multiply everything by 4. So this isn't perfect math, but I'm just going to do that. Everything inside those parentheses is going to be multiplied by 4. So this becomes 4n squared plus 44n plus a fourth times 4 is just going to make that 4 cancel out. So I'm left with 121 equals, don't forget to multiply this by 4 also. 28 times 4, or negative 28 times 4, is negative 112, plus, again, 4 times 121 fourths cancels that 4 out, so I just get 121. Now, when I'm going to factor this side, let's not overthink this. Really, I see that this is a perfect square, and this is a perfect square, both these ends. So my trinomial is a perfect square. All I really have to do is take the square root of 4n squared. Square root of 4 is 2, square root of n squared is n. Square root of 121 is just 11. And it's positive in the middle, so I'm going to have a positive there. If I FOILed this out, I would get that exact thing. Okay, so you could check that on your own. If you add these two together, you just get 9. And we're back to solving by square roots. So the only thing that was a little bit different is that, when I divide by 2 here, I end up with a decimal. So when I square this, I square the top, square the bottom, and that becomes my new fraction. To get rid of that fraction, I just multiply by 4. To solve this, nothing really changes. So I get 2n plus 11 equals, square root of 9 is the positive and negative 3. So next step would be to subtract 11. Now the only thing that's different here is that now I have a negative 11 plus or minus 3, and then I still have a 2 left with my n, so now I have to divide everything by 2. So n equals negative 11 plus or minus 3 over 2. Now, I need to simplify this if I can. So, think of it one at a time. So negative 11 plus 3 divided by 2, and negative 11 minus 3 divided by 2. So negative 11 plus 3 is negative 8 over 2, and negative 11 minus 3 is negative 14 over 2. So it looks like my final answer is n equals negative 4 and n equals negative 7.